You look around and something feels off. That colleague who always smiles too wide. The friend who's there only when they need something. The family member who makes your stomach churn. Your instincts are screaming, but you can't put your finger on why. Today, we're diving deep into the hidden signs of toxic individuals, the predators hiding in plain sight. And we're not just going to identify them. We're going to arm you with ancient Stoic wisdom to protect yourself. By the end of this video, you'll never look at these people the same way again. Think about it. How many times have you ignored your gut feeling, only to regret it later? The Stoics understood something profound about human nature thousands of years ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." But before we can rise above, we need to recognize the darkness. Warning: what you're about to learn might shock you. These signs are so subtle yet so powerful that once you see them, you can't unsee them. You'll start noticing patterns everywhere. Some of you might even recognize these traits in people you trust right now. But don't click away. Knowledge is your shield. Let's be clear. This isn't about paranoia, it's about wisdom. The ancient Stoics weren't just philosophers, they were masters of human psychology. They understood that evil doesn't always wear a scary mask. Sometimes it wears a designer suit. Sometimes it sits across from you at dinner. Sometimes it sends you "hope you're doing well" texts. The most dangerous predators aren't the obvious ones. They're the ones who've mastered the art of deception. They've learned to mirror normal human behavior so well that most people never notice the cracks in their facade. But today, we're going to shine a light on those cracks. Get ready to discover the 10 unmistakable signs of toxic individuals. We'll explore how they think, how they operate, and most importantly, how to protect yourself using timeless Stoic principles. This isn't just another self-help video. This is survival knowledge for the modern world. Remember that colleague who always seems to be at the center of office drama, yet somehow comes out looking like the victim? Or that friend who makes you feel guilty for every boundary you set? These aren't coincidences, they're patterns, and patterns can be decoded. The Stoics taught us that true power lies not in controlling others, but in controlling our own responses. Today, you're going to learn both: how to spot those who seek to control you, and how to maintain your inner fortress against their attacks. As we dive deeper, you'll learn why these toxic individuals are drawn to empaths and high achievers. You'll understand why they seem to target the best among us, and you'll discover why, according to Stoic philosophy, their behavior says everything about them and nothing about you. By the end of this video, you'll have a mental toolkit that combines modern psychology with ancient wisdom. You'll learn not just how to spot these people, but how to maintain your own peace of mind when dealing with them. Are you ready? Let's begin. Sign 1. The master manipulators. At first glance, they seem charming, almost too charming. Their words flow like honey, but there's something artificial about the sweetness. These are the master manipulators, and their weapon of choice is emotional exploitation. Think about water wearing away at rock. Subtle, constant, almost imperceptible. That's how manipulators work. They don't announce their intentions. Instead, they plant seeds of doubt, nurture your insecurities, and harvest your vulnerability. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus warned, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Manipulators understand this instinctively, but they use this knowledge for control rather than growth. They're experts at triggering reactions that benefit them. Watch for the subtle ways they rewrite history. A manipulator will deny saying something you clearly remember, make promises they never fulfill, and then convince you that you're the one misremembering. This isn't random. It's a calculated strategy to destabilize your reality. They're masters of the false choice. "If you really cared about me, you would. A true friend would." These statements create artificial dilemmas where both choices serve the manipulator's interests. The Stoics would recognize this as a form of coercion, disguised as free will. Notice how they always position themselves as either the hero or the victim, never the villain. Every story they tell reinforces this narrative. Every conflict they describe paints them in the best possible light, while subtly demeaning others. Their timing is impeccable. They ask for favors when you're most vulnerable, make demands when you're least able to refuse, and create crises that only they can solve. This isn't coincidence, it's strategy. Pay attention to how they use your words against you. They listen not to understand, but to gather ammunition. Every confession, every vulnerable moment, becomes a weapon in their arsenal, ready to be deployed at the most damaging moment. The most dangerous aspect? Their ability to make you doubt yourself. They'll praise you one moment and criticize you the next, creating an emotional roller coaster that leaves you constantly seeking their approval. This is the opposite of Stoic self-sufficiency. Remember Marcus Aurelius's words, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." The manipulator's power lies in making you react. Your power lies in choosing your response. But first, you must recognize the game being played. Sign 2. The emotional vampires. You've felt it before. That inexplicable exhaustion after spending time with certain people. Like your energy has been drained, your joy siphoned away. These are the emotional vampires, and they're more common than you think. Watch how they feed off drama like it's oxygen. Every minor incident becomes a major crisis. Every conversation becomes an emotional marathon. The Stoic philosopher Seneca warned us about such people, saying, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." They have an uncanny ability to make everything about their emotions. Your achievements become threats to their ego. Your struggles become opportunities for them to demonstrate their superiority. Your boundaries become personal attacks against them. Notice the pattern. They're always in crisis, always in need, always demanding emotional labor from others. But when it's your turn to need support, they're mysteriously unavailable or turn the conversation back to themselves. The Stoics understood that true strength comes from within, not from draining others. These emotional vampires never learned this lesson. Instead, they've mastered the art of emotional dependency, creating webs of obligation and guilt. Pay attention to how they respond to your successes and joys. While others celebrate with you, they find subtle ways to diminish your happiness. A backhanded compliment here, a concerned comment there, all designed to puncture your emotional well-being. They're experts at creating emotional debt. Every favor comes with strings attached. Every kind act becomes ammunition for future manipulation. They keep a mental ledger of emotional transactions, always ensuring you remain in their debt. The most insidious part? They make you doubt your right to have boundaries. "You're so sensitive," they say. "Why are you being so cold?" These are the weapons they use to breach your emotional defenses and maintain access to your energy. Remember what Marcus Aurelius taught. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Emotional vampires aim to colonize your thoughts with their drama, their needs, their emotional demands. The Stoic solution? Establish firm boundaries without guilt. As Epictetus advised, some things are in our control and others not. You can't control their need for emotional energy, but you can control how much access they have to yours. Sign 3. The chronic victims. These are the people who've mastered the art of perpetual victimhood. No matter the situation, they're always the wronged party, always the one fate has conspired against. But there's something calculated about their helplessness. Look closely at their stories. They're never responsible for anything that goes wrong in their lives. Every failure, every setback, every conflict is someone else's fault. The Stoics would recognize this as a fundamental rejection of personal responsibility. They've weaponized sympathy. Their tales of woe are designed to bypass your rational mind and appeal directly to your compassion. But notice how their misfortunes always seem to require something from you: your time, your resources, your support. Watch how they respond to solutions, offer practical advice, and they'll explain why nothing could possibly work. Suggest a way forward, and they'll detail why they're uniquely cursed. They're not looking for solutions. They're looking for company in their misery. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters." Chronic victims have inverted this wisdom, building their entire identity around what happens to them rather than their response. They're masters of the self-fulfilling prophecy. By constantly expecting the worst, they create situations that confirm their negative worldview. Then they use these situations as evidence that they're perpetually victimized. Pay attention to how they handle others' struggles. While demanding endless sympathy for themselves, they're oddly dismissive of others' problems. Or worse, they compete for the position of most victimized. They use their perceived victimhood as a shield against criticism and a sword against responsibility. Any attempt to hold them accountable is reframed as an attack, adding another chapter to their narrative of persecution. The most dangerous aspect? They'll try to recruit you into their worldview. They want you to see life as a series of injustices, other people as potential persecutors, and helplessness as the natural state of being. Remember Seneca's words, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." The chronic victim has built an elaborate imaginary framework where they're powerless, and they'll work tirelessly to pull you into it. Sign 4. The pathological liars. Truth isn't just a concept for these people. It's a tool to be bent and shaped to their will. They don't just lie to get out of trouble. They lie when the truth would serve them better. It's compulsive, calculated, and completely deliberate. Watch how they build entire worlds of deception. Small lies stack upon each other like bricks, creating elaborate facades that they maintain with remarkable dedication. The Stoics understood that living in alignment with truth was essential for a good life. These people have rejected that principle entirely. They don't just lie about big things, they lie about insignificant details. The weather, what they had for breakfast, conversations that never happened. Marcus Aurelius said, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." But these individuals actively create false perspectives. Notice how their stories always shift and change. Details that were crucial yesterday disappear today. People who were central to one version of events vanish in the next telling. They're not just lying, they're creating alternate realities. The most dangerous aspect, they start to believe their own lies. Epictetus warned, "The first and greatest task of the philosopher is to test and separate appearances." These individuals have lost the ability to separate truth from their own fabrications. Pay attention to how they handle being caught. Instead of admitting the lie, they'll create more lies to support the original deception. It's like watching someone dig themselves deeper while insisting they're building a stairway to the truth. They use lies as both shield and weapon. To protect themselves from consequences, to manipulate others' perceptions, to create advantages where none existed. Every lie serves a purpose in their strategic deception. The most insidious part is how they make you doubt your own reality. "That's not what happened," they'll say with absolute conviction. "You're remembering it wrong." This is gaslighting in its purest form, and it's one of their most powerful tools. They often wrap their lies in partial truths, making them harder to detect and dispute. As Seneca observed, even the truth, when not properly presented, can be as effective as falsehood. They've mastered this dark art of mixing truth with deception. Remember the Stoic principle of living in accordance with nature, with reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. These pathological liars create elaborate fantasies and expect others to live within them. Your defense? Unwavering commitment to truth even when lies would be more comfortable. Sign 5. The control freaks. These are the puppeteers of the social world, the ones who need to orchestrate every situation, manage every outcome, and direct every interaction. Their need for control isn't just preference, it's pathological. They disguise their control as concern. "I'm just trying to help," they'll say while micromanaging every aspect of your life. The Stoics understood that the only thing we can truly control is our own responses. These people never got that memo. Watch how they react when things don't go according to their plan. The meltdowns aren't just about disappointment. They're about losing their grip on the illusion of control. Even minor deviations from their expectations can trigger major reactions. They're masters of the false emergency, Everything becomes urgent when you try to establish independence. Every situation becomes critical when you attempt to make your own decisions. It's not about the actual circumstances. It's about maintaining control. Notice their relationship with information. They hoard it, dispense it strategically, and use it as currency. Knowledge is power, and these individuals never share power willingly. Epictetus would recognize this as another form of slavery, to the need to control. The most dangerous aspect? Their ability to make their control seem reasonable, even necessary. They'll point to past mistakes, real or imagined, potential dangers, or their superior experience to justify their iron grip on every situation. Pay attention to their language. I'm just trying to protect you. You don't understand the consequences. Let me handle this. These phrases aren't offers of help. They're assertions of control disguised as concern. They create dependency through competence. By insisting on handling everything themselves, they ensure that others never develop the skills to be independent. It's a calculated strategy to maintain their position of control. The irony? Their need for control ultimately controls them. As Marcus Aurelius noted, you have power over your mind, not outside events. These individuals have inverted this wisdom, exhausting themselves trying to control the uncontrollable. Remember this: true power lies in the ability to let go, to allow others their autonomy, to accept that the world won't end if things don't go exactly as planned. The control freak has never learned this lesson, and their life is an endless battle against reality itself. Sign 6, the envious saboteurs. They're the ones who smile at your success while plotting its undoing. These are the saboteurs, driven by an envy so deep it's become their operating system. The Stoics warned about envy as a poison that corrupts the soul. These individuals have turned it into an art form. Watch how they downplay others' achievements while inflating their own. Every success story has a but attached. Every triumph comes with an asterisk. They're constantly working to rewrite the narrative where others' victories are luck, while their own mediocrity is unfair. The most insidious part? Their sabotage is subtle. A crucial email accidentally unsent. An important deadline forgotten. A key introduction slipped their mind. As Epictetus noted, people are disturbed not by things, but by their judgments about things. These individuals are disturbed by others' success. They're masters of the backhanded compliment. Wow, you're brave to try that. I wish I could just ignore the risks like you do. Every praise contains a subtle poison, designed to plant seeds of doubt in your mind. Notice their timing. They offer help when it's too late to be useful. They provide warnings after the fact. They share crucial information only when it can no longer make a difference. This isn't coincidence, it's strategy. They create an atmosphere of competition where none should exist. Every interaction becomes a zero-sum game. Every success becomes a threat. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Accept the things to which fate binds you." These people accept nothing except their own superiority. Pay attention to how they spread negativity. They'll share concerns about your projects with others. They'll plant doubts about your abilities in casual conversation. They're not just sabotaging your work, they're sabotaging your reputation. The most dangerous aspect? Their ability to make their sabotage look like care. I'm just looking out for you. I didn't want you to make that mistake. They wrap their destructive actions in the language of protection. They're experts at creating self-doubt. By constantly questioning your decisions, undermining your confidence, and highlighting potential failures, they make you your own worst enemy. As Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." They ensure you suffer in both. Remember this: their behavior reveals their weakness, not yours. Their need to sabotage others is a testament to their own insecurity. The Stoic response? Continue your path with dignity, aware of their machinations but not controlled by them. Sign 7, the moral chameleons. These individuals don't just adapt to their environment, they become whatever serves their interests in the moment. Their moral compass isn't just broken, It spins according to their advantage. Watch how their principles shift with the wind. What was unthinkable yesterday becomes acceptable today if it benefits them. What they condemned in others becomes justifiable when they do it. The Stoics valued consistency. These people see it as a limitation. They're masters of moral relativism. It's different when I do it. You have to understand the context. Every ethical breach comes with a carefully crafted justification that applies only to them. Notice how they maintain different personas for different audiences. They're champions of virtue with one group, ruthless pragmatists with another. As Epictetus observed, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. They skip the first part entirely. Their moral flexibility isn't random, it's tactical. Every shift in principles, every ethical exception, serves a purpose. They're not lost. They're navigating by a compass that always points to self-interest. The most insidious part? They make their moral gymnastics seem reasonable. They're so skilled at justifying their positions that you might find yourself nodding along to things that would have horrified you yesterday. Pay attention to how they handle ethical discussions. They'll agree with whatever position gives them advantage in the moment, but their actions tell a different story. Actions, as Marcus Aurelius reminded us, reveal character. They use moral language as camouflage. Words like integrity, honesty, and loyalty become weapons in their arsenal, deployed to manipulate others while meaning nothing to them. The most dangerous aspect? Their ability to corrupt others' moral compass. By constantly shifting the goalposts of what's acceptable, they create an environment where ethical behavior becomes relative and situational. Remember Seneca's words, "Let all your actions reference wisdom and truth." The moral chameleon has no fixed reference point, and that's precisely why they're dangerous. Sign 8, the silent assassins. These are the masters of passive aggression, the ones who kill with quiet contempt. They don't need raised voices or direct confrontation. Their weapon is subtle psychological warfare. They perfect the art of the loaded silence. Every unanswered message, every forgotten invitation, every ignored contribution is a carefully aimed arrow. As Epictetus noted, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. They count on your reaction. Watch their nonverbal communication. The eye rolls, the sighs, the dismissive gestures, all calculated to undermine without leaving evidence. They've learned that plausible deniability is their greatest shield. The most dangerous aspect? Their ability to make you seem paranoid. I didn't mean anything by it. You're reading too much into things. They gaslight you into doubting your own perceptions of their subtle attacks. They weaponize social dynamics. By creating tension without obvious conflict, they force others to choose sides in battles that can't be named. Marcus Aurelius warned about the futility of seeking others' approval. These people turn that seeking into a vulnerability. Notice how they use selective attention as a weapon. They'll acknowledge some people while ignoring others, create inner circles and outcasts, all without saying a word. Their silence speaks volumes, but always with perfect deniability. They're experts at creating hostile environments while maintaining a facade of innocence. The temperature drops when they enter a room, but you can't quite explain why. The atmosphere becomes tense, but there's nothing specific to point to. Pay attention to their timing. They choose moments of maximum impact for their silent treatments, their subtle exclusions, their quiet sabotage. Every non-action is actually a calculated action. The most insidious part? They make their victims do the emotional work. By forcing you to confront their behavior, they can paint you as the aggressor. It's psychological judo of the highest order. Remember the Stoic principle of focusing on what you can control. You can't control their silent warfare, but you can control your response to it. Don't play their game. Maintain your dignity and peace of mind. Sign 9, the glory seekers. These are the spotlight chasers, the credit takers, the ones who need to be the hero of every story. But unlike honest achievers, they build their glory on the foundation of others' work. They're masters of narrative manipulation. Every group success becomes their personal triumph. Every collaborative effort gets rewritten with them at the center. Epictetus would recognize this as attachment to false pride. Watch how they position themselves. They're absent during the hard work, but magically appear for the recognition. They avoid responsibility but chase credit. It's a calculated dance of minimal input and maximum visibility. The most dangerous aspect? Their ability to make others doubt their own contributions. Through subtle revision of history, constant self-promotion, and strategic positioning, they gradually erase others' roles and successes. Notice their relationship with failure. When things go wrong, they're nowhere to be found. As Seneca observed, success comes to the lowly and to the person who can defy the odds. They only defy odds in retrospect. They're experts at managing up. Those in power see one version of them, while those doing the actual work see another. This isn't just deception, it's strategic image management. Pay attention to their language. My team, my project, my success. Everything becomes an extension of their personal brand. They don't share glory, they hoard it. The most insidious part? They often believe their own propaganda. Through constant self-promotion and narrative revision, they create a version of reality where they really are the hero of every story. They use others' modesty against them. While genuine achievers often downplay their contributions, glory seekers fill that vacuum with their own inflated narratives. Remember Marcus Aurelius's wisdom: a man's worth is no greater than his ambitions. These individuals confuse the appearance of worth with worth itself. Sign 10, the chaos architects. These are the people who thrive in disorder, who create confusion and then present themselves as the solution. They're not just comfortable with chaos, they actively engineer it. They manufacture crises. Every situation becomes an emergency. Every decision becomes urgent. Every moment becomes critical. The Stoics valued tranquility. These people see it as a target to destroy. Watch how they use urgency as a weapon. By creating artificial time pressure, they force others to make hasty decisions, bypass normal procedures, and accept their help without question. The most dangerous aspect? Their ability to make chaos seem normal. Through constant drama and crisis, they reshape others' expectations until turbulence becomes the default state. Notice how they respond to calm periods. They'll find ways to stir up trouble, create conflicts, or manufacture problems. As Epictetus noted, people are disturbed not by things, but by their judgments about things. They disturb both. They're experts at creating dependency through disorder. By being the only ones who can handle the chaos they create, they make themselves seem indispensable. Pay attention to their problem solving. They'll create temporary solutions that guarantee future crises, ensuring their continued importance. The most insidious part? They make others feel incompetent in the face of their manufactured chaos. By creating situations where normal approaches fail, they position themselves as the only ones who can cope. They use confusion as control. When no one else can make sense of the situation, their interpretations become the only ones that matter. Remember Seneca's words: true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. These chaos architects make such happiness impossible by ensuring the present is always in crisis. Now that we've identified these toxic individuals, let's arm ourselves with Stoic wisdom for protection. Here are the practical strategies that combine ancient philosophy with modern psychology. First, understand that your power lies in your response. As Marcus Aurelius taught, you have power over your mind, not outside events. This is your first and strongest line of defense against toxic people. Practice emotional distancing without losing compassion. The Stoics weren't cold, they were strategic. Learn to observe toxic behavior without being drawn into its web. As Epictetus advised, when you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Establish clear boundaries based on principles, not reactions. Don't wait for violations to set limits. As Seneca noted, if one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable. Develop your inner citadel, that mental fortress where toxic people cannot reach. This isn't about building walls, it's about cultivating inner strength. Make decisions based on your values, not their manipulations. Practice the Stoic art of indifference to things beyond your control. This doesn't mean not caring, it means not letting others' toxic behavior control your peace of mind. Remember that toxic people often target those they envy. Your success, happiness, and inner peace can be magnets for their negativity. Let this reinforce rather than weaken your commitment to personal growth. Build a support network of genuine, principle-centered people. As Epictetus said, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. Finally, maintain perspective. Toxic people come and go, but your character, your true self, remains constant if you stay true to your principles. Use these encounters as opportunities for growth. Every toxic person you encounter is a chance to practice wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control, the 4 cardinal virtues of Stoicism. The goal isn't to eliminate toxic people from your life. That's often impossible. The goal is to become so mentally strong that their toxicity cannot affect your inner peace. Remember what Marcus Aurelius taught us. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Your power isn't in changing them, it's in remaining true to yourself despite them. Look around you now. You might recognize some of these signs in people you know. That's okay. Knowledge is power, and you now have both the wisdom of the Stoics and the insights of modern psychology on your side. The next time you encounter these toxic individuals, and you will, remember, their behavior says everything about them and nothing about you. Your response is your power. Your inner peace is your victory. Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius.